As is customary, we will begin with opening statements. 5 weeks ago, because of the work of Director Patel, we learned that the former chair of the House Intelligence Committee and current United States Senator leaked classified information. We learned this because a whistleblower came forward. A whistleblower with 23 years' experience in the intelligence community, a Democrat staffer on the committee, said this: they were pressured to leak classified information, which sort of raises the obvious question. Why would the head of the Intelligence Committee, the chair of that committee, who's supposed to be guarding our secrets, why would he be encouraging the leaking of classified information? Whistleblower told us that answer as well. The leaked information was supposed to be used, the leaked information, false information, was going to be used to indict President Trump. Now, the former chairman wasn't the only person leaking information. Jim Comey was also sharing things he wasn't supposed to share. Again, don't take my word for it. The Inspector General told us this. In his report, he said, quote, James Comey violated FBI policy by disclosing classified information. And what was Comey's motive? Same as the senator from California: to sabotage and undermine President Trump's first term. And we know that Mr. Comey's not been shy about what his objective was. In fact, 4 months ago, he told us. Remember this? 8647. Jim Comey told us just 4 months ago. Now, how'd they do it? How did the former chair of the intel community, the former FBI director, and others in our government attempt to undermine?
If you want clear, fact-based analysis, subscribe now, because what just happened in Congress has everyone paying attention. During a tense hearing, Jim Jordan presented documents and timelines raising serious questions, with Adam Schiff at the center. Supporters call it accountability. Critics urge caution. But one thing's certain: the tone shifted, and this moment could shape the narrative moving forward.
Because of the good work of the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, we learned from another whistleblower, a second whistleblower, that in the closing days of the Obama administration, the intelligence community assessment was changed. On December 5th, 2016, they had one assessment. That assessment said Russia did not impact the election vote count. There was a meeting at the White House on December 9th, 2016, where it was decided, no, we're not going to have that. We're going to come up with a new one. And the new one said Russia was trying to influence election and did influence election, which just wasn't accurate. And that new one is published on January 6, 2017. Let's just show you a few things that took place. I want to show you first this email from Admiral Rogers, the head of the NSA. You can see it was December 22nd. It says to Jim, John, and Jim Clapper, John Brennan, Jim Comey. And he says, I asked my team if they've had sufficient access to the underlying intelligence, sufficient time to review that intelligence. On both points, my team raised concern. Further states, my folks aren't fully comfortable. A few hours later, there's an email back to Admiral Rogers. This one is from Jim Clapper, and it says this: it is essential that we be on the same page and all of us are supportive of the report in the highest tradition of, that's our story and we're sticking to it. We may have to compromise on our normal modalities. This is one project that has to be a team sport. That's our story, and we're sticking to it. Compromise on normal modalities, that's a fancy way of saying, that's the government speak for we're going to have to change the rules. In fact, we're not going to follow our own rules. And that's exactly what they did, to get the objective they wanted, to undermine President Trump.
Now, this is where things escalated, and it's important to separate what's confirmed from what's still debated. A central question raised by Jim Jordan was simple. Why would someone responsible for protecting classified information, like former FBI Director James Comey, be accused of mishandling it? The DOJ Inspector General did find that Comey violated FBI policy in how he handled memos, but the intent behind those actions remains disputed. Jordan then connected this to the 2016 election and the Russia investigation involving Donald Trump. U.S. intelligence agencies concluded Russia interfered in the election, but the scale and interpretation of that interference are still debated. He also pointed to internal communications involving John Brennan and James Clapper, suggesting pressure behind intelligence decisions, though those claims are not universally agreed upon. The Steele dossier was also discussed. While parts were discredited or unverified, reviews confirmed it played a role in surveillance applications, though it wasn't the sole basis for the investigation. Then Kash Patel raised concerns about possible bias and misconduct within agencies, but many of those claims remain contested. So what does this all mean? This hearing wasn't just about the past, it was about how that past is being interpreted today. Competing narratives still shape the story, and the bigger question remains, is this new evidence or a new way of seeing old events?